Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to tonight's Board of Appeals hearing. Before we begin, let me introduce some members of town government that act as advisors to this board. To my left is Paul Hennings, counsel to the board. To his left is David Flynn, assistant planning director. To his left is Tom O'Brien, a planner in the planning department. To his left is John Bongino, town building director. Now let me tell you why you're here tonight. New York State statute requires that any town that adopts zoning must also have a Board of Appeals to act as a relief valve so that those persons aggrieved by strict application of the zoning ordinance can seek relief without the expense of going to court. Town board can give Board of Appeals additional powers, such as special exception approvals, site plan approvals, etc. In Smithtown, the town board has given this board regarding certificate of existing use and some special exception uses. The most common kind of application before the board are area variances. Area variances deal with dimensions such as lot area, frontage, height, and setbacks. New York State statute mandates that the board must consider the following 5 criteria in area variances. When you come to the podium to present your application, you need to address these 5 areas. They are posted here for you. Number 1, whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties will be created. Number 2, whether the applicant has other feasible alternatives. Number 3, whether the variance is substantial. Number 4, whether an adverse impact on the environment will be created. And number 5, whether the alleged difficulty is self-created. The statute requires the board to balance the interest of the applicant and those of the neighborhood or community. The statute further requires that the board shall grant the minimum variance shall deem necessary and adequate, and at the same time preserve and protect the character of the neighborhood and the health, safety, and welfare of the community. The board has the power to impose reasonable conditions for granting variances. Special exception applications are different. When we have a special exception application before us, I will explain the different criteria. Regarding procedure, cases will be called in order that they are advertised. When your case is called, please come forward, submit your affidavits and mailing receipts to Mr. O'Brien, and then you will be sworn into the podium. You'll be given the opportunity to explain to the board why you need the variance. After the applicant is done speaking, all interested parties will be given one opportunity and only one opportunity to be heard. Please organize your thoughts. Keep your remarks factual that are related to the case. Then I will ask the applicant to come back to the podium to answer your concerns. The board will then close the case and reserve decision. After all the hearings are closed, the board will review the cases and decide some of them. Others will be reviewed at a later date. There are 3 ways to find out the results of the case. Number 1, you can wait until after the public hearing, but there's no guarantee that the board will act on your case tonight. Number 2, you can call the planning department tomorrow afternoon. And number 3, applicants can wait and be notified by mail. We do have one adjournment. Case 16795, KPE2. That is on Old Northport Road and Kings Park Road, Kings Park. That has been adjourned to November 27th. Okay. First case tonight, case 16808, Colleen Glenn, 20 White Cliff Lane, Wisconsin. Location, south side of White Cliff Lane, east of Alexandria Avenue, Wisconsin. Property zone R10. Request variance to reduce the minimum rear yard setback from 50 feet to 34, reduce the minimum side yard setback from 12 to 11, and the total side yards from 26 to 25 for a proposed roof over 350 square feet deck with gazebo. And your name, please.
Colleen Glenn,
And your address, Colleen.
20 White Cliff Lane, Nesconset, New York, 11767.
Good. Will you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do?
Now, would you like this gentleman to speak for you?
Yes.
Okay. Fine. May I have your name and please spell your last name?
Christopher Ang, E-N-G.
Okay. Okay, and your address, Christopher?
175 Orinoco Drive, Brightwaters, New York.
Okay. Will you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. You want to tell us why you're here?
We are proposing to cover an existing rear deck, 350 square feet, that will reduce the rear yard setback from 50 feet that's required down to 34 feet, and the side yard from the required 12 feet down to 11 feet, and the total side yards from 26 feet down to 25 feet. The proposed addition will not change the character of the neighborhood or will be a detriment to the surrounding neighbors. The we can't change what we're proposing because the deck is already existing and we'd like to cover the existing deck. We feel that the variances and the relaxations that we're asking is not substantial and will not have an adverse effect on the environment or the surrounding neighborhood. The situation was not self-created because the existing deck is there, and we just like to cover that existing deck.
Planning?
No comments, thank you.
Gentlemen,
No, ma'am. No question.
thank you so much.
Thank you, members of the board.
Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second.
It's regularly moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. The next case is case 16809, Enrico Hernan, 49 Winston Drive, Smithtown. Location, northeast corner of Winston Drive and Leah Court, Smithtown, property zone R21. Request variance to reduce the minimum side yard from 16 feet to 9 for an existing 157 square foot addition. Reduce the minimum side yard from 16 to 11 for an existing 600 square foot deck.
Good evening.
Good evening. May I have your name, please?
Enrique Hernan,
And your address, please?
49 Winston Drive, Smithtown.
Okay. Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Are you speaking?
Yes, well, I'm with my husband.
All right, well, I got to swear you in. Give me your name, please.
Alicia Janik. Alicia Janik,
Spell your last name.
Janik,
Okay. And your address?
49 Winston Drive, Smithtown, New York, 11787.
And raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I swear to tell the truth.
Thank
do.
you. All right, you want to tell us why you're here, please?
Basically, it's an existing deck and an existing extension. We petitioning a variance of reducing the side yard from 12 to 11 feet, and as far as the extension, and as far as the deck. Nine from 16 feet to 9 feet.
For the deck, it's 16 to 11, right?
The deck is 16 to 11, that's correct.
Okay.
Now, I should point out that the extension, basically, the way that the house lays is at an angle from the property line. So the variance is actually just the corner of the house as well as the deck. The deck is roughly 18 inches high, so it's not a full-size deck. Both structures are existing, so there's really no detriment to the neighborhood. And as far as environmental, there's no actual impact on the environment.
planning?
Nothing, thank you, Madam Chair.
Gentlemen?
No question.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second.
Ready to move to second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. Next case is case 16810, James and Rose Schmidt, 8 Burnham Drive, Smithtown. Location, west side of Burnham Drive, north of Oakside Road, Smithtown. Property zone R21. Request variance to permit environmentally sensitive land, slopes in excess of 15%, to be altered for proposed 4-foot retaining wall. Permit a structure within 10 feet of environmentally sensitive land, slopes in excess of 15%. Do we have, okay. Are there pictures with this? No pictures?
No, I don't see him.
Did you submit pictures?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, he did submit them. Fine.
I do have some additionals if you would like to look at, but they're not
I
on the
would,
board.
thank you so much. I'll start them down here. Steve, would you like? Okay, may I have your name, please?
Good evening, my name is James Schmidt, SCHMIDT. I live at 8 Burham Drive, Smithtown 11787. I am the homeowner.
Okay. Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Good evening, I come here seeking a variance in regards to a proposed retaining wall. Currently, I have a retaining wall in the backyard, which was with the house originally built, which is approximately 45 years ago. It was wood. It's decaying. I need to replace it, and in order to replace it, I would have to touch the land behind the current wall. The portion of my land, which is 100 feet wide, only approximately 20 feet of it has a slope of more than 15 degrees. This shouldn't have any impact on the neighborhood or adjacent properties because there's a retaining wall already there, and the new wall will stop 4 feet before my property line. It is a substantial request from me because in order to replace this wall, I would have to touch the land behind it. There's really no other way to replace it without touching it, so it can't be achieved by alternate means. And it wouldn't have an adverse effect on the environment because it's basically what it already is. And with the new wall, there'll be improvements in the drainage, and I intend on replacing the vegetation as to just exactly the way it is now. And it wasn't, this problem wasn't caused by the former owner or myself because the slope is the slope and it was part of the landscape.
Planning?
This is really a minimal impact on the environmentally sensitive land, that's all.
Okay, thank you. Anything, gentlemen?
No question.
Is anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second.
Regularly moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. You're very welcome. Next case is case 16811, Maria Romero. Now, the location is 19 Dolly Drive. Location south side of Dolly Drive, south of Betty Lane. Comac, property zone R10. Request variance to reduce the minimum rear yard from 50 feet to 36 for an existing 456 square foot bi-level deck. Just pull that microphone down so you can take it out, just as easy. And may I have your name, please?
My name is Maria Romero.
And your address, Maria?
I'm currently living in New Jersey, 2400 Coral Leaf Road, Toms River, New Jersey. And I'm here about the property. Yeah,
Raise your right hand first. You swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm here about the property at 19 Dolly Drive, and I'm requesting a variance to reduce a rear yard from 50 feet to 36 feet on an existing deck that is 456 square feet. It's a bi-level deck.
Does this look like this fence is going to someone else's property?
No, the fence is inside. Property goes outside.
Oh, okay. Okay. Planning?
The survey we have says it's 45 feet from the deck to the property line. I don't know, do you have the same one?
I-
Flat.
Well, just a recommendation, if the board's inclined to grant it, just put a condition on saying to the extent that the structure currently exists.
Okay. Planning? Anyone else? All right. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second.
Regularly moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Next case is case 16812, Ernest and Alois Muller, 8 Reeses Street, Smithtown. Location, southwest corner, Reeses Street and Hurton Boulevard, Smithtown. Property zone R10. Request variance to permit an accessory structure in the required front yard and reduce the minimum front yard from 25 feet to 9 on Hurton Boulevard for an existing 80 square foot shed. Reduce the minimum rear yard from 35 to 25 for an existing 130 square foot first floor addition and an existing 111 square foot roof over patio. May I have the applicant?
This is Mr. Muller from
Okay.
Reeves Road.
Yep, but I need Mr. Muller first. May I have your name, please?
My name is Ernst Muller. I live on 8 Reef Street, Smithtown, New York.
Raise your right hand, please. Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Would you like this gentleman to speak for you?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Do you have, what do you have?
I have the sign posting and the green for the certified mail.
Where are all the green cards in this, and the? Who? Okay. May I have your name?
Jerry McCarrick, Shoreham
Uh,
Village, New York.
Move the microphone up, please, so we can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. You want my name again?
Spell your last name.
McCarrick. Okay,
And raise your right hand, please. You swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
yes.
Thank you.
Okay, what we have here is Mr. Muller lived next door in his aunt's house to this property on Reeves Road. In 1957, he built this house himself with a local contractor here in Smithtown that took care of all the permits and everything was legal. However, back then in '57, there was nothing else on Reeves Road. So he owned the house plus the lot behind him, and they were 35 feet when they should have been 30 feet, I believe, the setback for the front. So what this did is this pushed this house back a little bit, encroaching into the rear yard setback. However, in 1961, he built a shed, so we're asking for a CO for the shed as well. In 1983, Mr. Muller and his family had a terrible fire and had to live in a trailer in the house for months. At that time, when the building inspector came out, I'm sorry, let me go back to the fire. In 1971, Mr. Muller built an 8-foot by 11-foot addition. We went to the assessor's office to see if we could get anything, and they showed us the sketch of the property, but nothing else. And it was a loosely drawn copy. I don't know if you have it in your file. I'd like to present it to the board.
You cannot speak. You have to, please go back. Oh. I'll show it to everyone.
Okay. At that time, when they had the fire, they lived in that trailer for months, and they had an insurance company come in and several other people, and they built the house exactly the way it was, including that kitchen. However, when the house was finished, we received a compliance of a certificate so they could move back in. It wasn't a CO, it was just a CO that said basically, you can live in the house again. We thought that the building permit was taken care of by the contractor. Well, after all of this time, we found it wasn't. If the assessor had done the right correction, he should have added the addition to the current CO. So we went to the assessor and they said, well, you've been paying tax for it all these years, you know. So that's like one of the things that started to tumble down the staircase. The other thing is they had a rear deck that is built to code, and it exceeds the town of Smithtown's code. We had an inspector over, our footings go down, we're less than 18 inches, so we don't need any of that. The only other houses that border this property is a friend behind them where they sold the property, and a friend right next to them where the grandmother used to live. We have permission from both of them. I don't have it in writing, but they're both in favor of this application. This lot conforms to everything else that's up in the neighborhood. Most of the lots are 100 by 100. Again, when Mr. Muller bought the house, he was the only one on Reeves outside of his aunt at that time. I had some more stuff here. We have a new certificate or a copy of the certificate, and it does not show that addition. It just shows what size the house was, and it left the addition off. I have several surveys from back then when they did this. I have aerials. I have all kinds of things I could give to you, but I don't know if they make a difference. The 35 feet that was requested for the rear yard, they only had 25, and then they added the gable above to match the rest of the house was another 2 feet, so they said we needed 23 feet rear yard. You know, the fence is up, it has the ivory through it and everything else, so it would be a real hurt to take that fence down. Mr. and Mrs. Muller are moving to live with their daughter. It's the right thing to do, is to have them to be close by and not in some facility. So they've sold the house. We sold the house as is. They asked for a lot of the cabinet shelves and things that Mr. Muller made personally, and we removed it. But back to the original application, we're asking for an 8-foot addition by 11 feet behind the house, which I think you have clear pictures of. And we were asked to get a CO for the remainder of the overhang for the roof. And then we were asked to get permission for the shed that's been there since 1961. The shed is stuck in a corner, it's covered with growth, and I don't see, you know, any good reason to move it. You know, we respect what you do. I don't know if you've had issues with sheds prior, of where they are, and they've come back to be a problem for the building department and whatever. We want to do the right thing here. So the big thing is the kitchen. We thought that the contractor got a building permit. We can't find a building permit. The only thing we found was the assessor drew it on the thing, and she said that you've been probably paying taxes since 1972 for this shed. So I don't know if you have any questions for me.
Okay, I do. Just let me tell you that we do go to the sites,
Right.
okay? So we were there. My only concern right now is, how does your neighbor feel, Mr. McGrath? When we got there, we went into his driveway. To pull out of his driveway, he can't even see. I mean, there is such a blockage of that he turning down, pulling out onto Hurton Boulevard.
It's a very good point. I am a builder, and I work in the town of Brookhaven, and you can't have a 6-foot fence prior to past the front line of the house. It never came up. I'll discuss it with Mr. Muller. I know you can drop down to 4 and go 4 feet the rest of the way from their corner. However, when this fence was put up, they owned that land, and it didn't come up in his building process or anything, but I don't think that's a major issue. Maybe if we get a letter from, what's his name, behind the, with the pool, where the fence fell. Oh,
Well, let me just,
yeah.
the planning, do you want to comment?
I don't see the fence as part of the application.
It is not.
Okay.
The only reason I brought it up is because even the shed, the way it is,
Mhm.
it's very hard to pull out of that driveway.
Right. how do you want to handle it? I mean, that's not
Yeah.
before the board. If they want to try to legalize it and the board wants to consider it, you'd have to adjourn the hearing, amend the application, send out new notices, and resume the hearing again.
I don't know how many feet the fence is. It's completely grown with ivy. It's been there a long time. It's in good shape. We did lose 2 sections that just broke, so we rebuilt the hole, we put cement in the hole, and we made sure that that fence wasn't going anywhere. However, that fence was probably there before they purchased their home. So, excuse me? Yeah, it was done before they purchased the home. The sign, the fence is on our property. It's not over. I think maybe if we came in, would 8 feet be enough from the corner of the road to make it a 4-foot fence and put that in
Well,
and let that help?
I would think if they lowered it to 4 feet high, and if they lower the portion that's within 20 feet of the curb to 4 feet high, then it complies with the new zoning ordinance.
Okay, so I'm gonna go measure the curb that's on the street. It comes up in about embankment like this, and it's very wooded
Yes, we know.
there, so you can't really see the shed. But we'll come in on a latitude that's 8 feet in, and then we'll take the fence to how many sections?
Well, the ordinance says 20 feet from the curb, a fence has to be 4 feet or less.
Okay, well, we can buy this in sections. It'll be 24 feet, you know. Like I said, we want to expedite this as soon as we can. We got a nice young couple wants to move in. We've had to hold them off for this. And, you know, this shed has been there so many years. You know, everybody needs a shed. You gotta, you know, guys like me call it the man cave. But, you know, we do want to get to a point here tonight. If there's anything, all that you may have, I would like to be able to address it, you know.
All right. Let me see, is there any other questions? No, thanks. We're fine.
All right, well, you know what I'd like to ask, if it's possible, if you could grant the variance as presented, but remove 24 feet of the fence to make it a 4
We'll probably
foot.
put a condition on that.
Yeah,
They got to put the fence to 4 foot, 20 feet from the curb.
yeah,
Okay?
yeah, so we'll do that, so,
Okay.
okay, so you're not gonna grant it tonight?
We probably will,
Okay,
all right, with that condition, okay?
okay, that's fine. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Best of luck to you.
Okay. Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on that application? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second.
It's really moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Ladies and gentlemen, please, if you're speaking, it's very difficult for us to hear. Next case is case 16813, Lawrence Collins, 115 50 Acre Road South, Smithtown. Location, northeast corner of Arthur Drive and 50 Acre Road South, Smithtown. Property zone R10. Request variance reduce the minimum front yard setback, Arthur Drive, from 40 feet to 28 for an existing 494 square foot deck. And your name, please?
Ralph Elsasser Expediting Services, located 11 Cherry Street, Selden, for the applicant, Lawrence Collins.
Okay. I know you had, okay.
I handed in my paperwork. I have the power of attorney to
Good.
speak on Mr. Collins' behalf.
All right. Raise
this-
your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. and Mrs. Collins had, they've been original homeowners in this house, and they're in there over 30 years. This deck is in excess of 20 years old. It's basically a ground level on one section, and the other section goes up about maybe 18 inches. It is in the front yard because they live on the corner. It really doesn't have an adverse effect on the neighborhood. It's rather covered up with bushes most of the time, and if you turn in the corner, you could probably hardly see it's there. There really is nothing else that they can do to change it at this point. If they were to put a deck in a rear yard, which they really don't have much of a rear yard on this house, it would require a variance too at that point. The area that we're requesting is not substantial, and I don't see any adverse effects, and the difficulty was caused by the applicants because they built it.
How high is the deck?
It's about 8 inches on one part, and then it goes up to about 18 inches. It's actually, you walk up a step to that, and that's the only part of the house where there's sliding glass doors to go out to this deck, and there's none off the rear or the side of the it's on the other side.
Okay. Paling? Gentlemen?
No question.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
You too. Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second?
Ready, move to second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Next case is case 16814, Jeffrey and Diane Singer, 19 Cedarwood Lane, Comac. Location, north side of Cedarwood Lane, west of Tulip Drive, Comac. Property zone R10. Request variance to reduce the minimum side yard setback from 12 feet to 7 and total side yard from 28 to 19 for proposed 384 square foot, two-story addition. Increase the maximum permitted paved surface in the front yard from 25% to 40% and the rear yard from 25% to 49%. And your name, please.
Good evening. My name is Jeff Singer,
And your address, Jeff?
19 Cedarwood Lane, Comac.
Okay. Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Would you like this gentleman to speak for you?
Yes, please.
Okay. May I have your name, please?
Michael Rubenstein, Rubinstein, 1070 Middle Country Road, Selden, New York, 11784.
Good. Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. The application before you this evening is to reduce the minimum side yard from 12 feet to 7 feet and to reduce the total side yards from 28 to 19 for a proposed two-story addition. We're additionally requesting variances to increase the maximum paved surface in the front yard from 25% to 40% for an existing driveway and pavers up to the front door. Also request a variance to increase the maximum paved surface in the rear yard from 25% to 49%, which is an existing patio around the pool, and also I believe that includes the water feature for the pool. My client wishes to construct a two-story addition for the purposes of expanding their bedroom on the second floor, actually creating a master bedroom and a bath, and a garage underneath. Presently, the house is a four-bedroom house, and we propose to alter the smallest bedroom and convert it to a computer room. Additionally, a portion of the existing garage has already been altered to a laundry room and a storage area. The new garage would provide them with space to accommodate one of their vehicles. With respect to the 5 considerations of a variance, whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties will be created by the granting of the area variance. Looking at the surrounding properties, my client's home is actually the smallest model in the neighborhood. Speaking with my client, it appears the house, they chose this house in this neighborhood. It's one of the few. It's one of the fewest small models in the neighborhood. Is that correct?
That is correct.
The majority of the other houses have two-car garages, where this one only had one-car garage. We're proposing to add a car garage, and we feel that the proposed addition will not change the character of the neighborhood. I'd like to submit a letter of support from the most affected neighbor at 21 Cedar Lane, Mr. Adam Ettenberg, if I may.
Of course. Thank you.
I believe Mr. Ettenberg recently purchased the property. That's correct?
That's correct, yes.
And I think he has had an opportunity to see the plans, and therefore wrote a letter in support of the application. I also have a series of aerial photographs and a series of pictures of some houses in the neighborhood that have similar side yards to what we're proposing, if I may.
Right. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you know of these pictures that you're giving me, that these people have variances?
That I do not know, but these
Okay.
they are existing, and
Yeah.
the houses were built this way. They're not proposed additions. And the second point, whether the benefit sought by the applicant can be achieved by some other method feasible to the applicant to pursue, other than an area variance. The existing garage is located on the east side of the house. Proposing the structure on the west side is not feasible due to the fact that there's only a 12-foot, 3.5-foot side yard. Additionally, the AC equipment is located on the west side as well. The topography of the property on that side doesn't make it feasible to propose its structure on the west side. Whether the requested area variance is major as opposed to minimal, we believe the requested variances are minimal and in keeping with the surrounding properties. Whether the proposed variance will have an adverse effect on the impact or the physical and environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district. The neighborhood is presently built up with one-family dwellings. Whether the alleged difficulty was self-created, the proposed structure has not been constructed, and therefore a self-created hardship does not exist. Regarding the paving, the majority of the front and rear paving is existing. This includes a water feature for the existing pool in the rear. If there are any questions?
Planning?
No, thank you.
Gentlemen?
Couple things. One, I notice on the picture, but not on the survey, there's a shed. Is that getting removed?
The shed?
Yes, that shed is going to be
That's
removed.
right. And the second thing is, the garage is about 4 or 5 feet bigger than a normal one-car garage. I just wonder if there's any leeway to cut that back, just because when you build a 2-story addition that close to the property line, it becomes considerably more imposing on the neighbor than if it were just a single-story garage. So I was wondering if there's any room to cut that back a little bit and still accomplish your client's objective.
Did you?
Well, we'd prefer, obviously, to keep it as
Use your mic.
we'd prefer to keep it as proposed naturally. We are an expanding family, four children, and we need pretty much all the storage that we can possibly get. So if the board would, consider as proposed, that would be greatly appreciated.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Hearing none, I entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second?
Really moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
Thank you.
You. Next case is case 16815, Edward Olson, 12 Getney Avenue, Smithtown location, north side of Getney Avenue and east of Evergreen Avenue, Smithtown, property zone R10. Request to reduce the minimum side yard from 28 feet to 24 for an existing 429 square foot deck. And your name, please.
Edward Olson, O-L-S-E-N. My home address is 12 Colmar Avenue, Lake Grove, New York. And I would like to make a...
Wait a
Oh,
minute.
I'm sorry, okay.
Okay, raise your right hand first.
Yep,
Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay. Just to make a correction in your agenda, the agenda lists the property as 12 Gedney Avenue. That is not correct. The property is 7 Gedney Avenue, and that is reflected in the paperwork that's gone into the town. It's possible that a typist may have made a mistake because I live at 12 Colmar, and they may have put this in as 12 Gedney.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes.
Okay, we would like to get a variance and legalize a pre-existing deck of 429 square feet that was installed about 23 years ago by my parents. This would not produce any change in the character of the neighborhood or any detriment to any adjacent properties. This really cannot be achieved any other way because if you notice on the pictures, that gives us access to the rear sliding doors in the back of the property, or actually on the side of the property. I do not believe that this is really a substantial request, and this would not have any adverse impact on the physical environment or conditions in the neighborhood or in the district. Was this self-created? Yep. My mom and dad put it on there 23 years ago and neglected to do what they needed to do at the time.
Planning?
No comments, thank you.
Gentlemen?
No question.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Did I ask if there's anybody here?
No.
Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Okay. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second.
Rayleigh moves in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Next case is case 16816, Stephen Weiss. Is it Weiss or Weiss? Weiss. Okay. 49 Cedar Street, Kings Park. Location: east side of Cedar Street, north of Bennett Street, Kings Park, property zone RM7. Request variance to reduce side yard setback, north side, from 8 feet to 3, an existing 358 square foot garage. Reduce side yard setback, south side, from 10 feet to 8, and total side yards from 18 to 11, for proposed 780 square foot first floor addition and a 370 square foot second story addition. And your name, please,
Kelly Weiss,
and your address, please.
49 Cedar Street, Kings Park.
Okay. Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay. Now, would you like this lady to speak for
Yes.
you? You are. Thank you. May I have your name? Would you spell your last name for me?
My name is Christine Tebben, T-E-B-B-E-N, Accurate Expediting.
Okay. Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. You want to tell us why you're here, please?
Yes. Good evening, Madam Chairperson, members of the board. Mr. and Mrs. Weiss are seeking permission to construct a one-story addition and a two-story addition. In order to do this, they require variance approval for side yard and total side yard. The north side yard reduction from 8 feet to 3 feet is for an existing detached garage. And since we're converting a small portion of the garage, it has to be included in the side yard variance. There is an existing enclosed porch that already attaches the house. The south side yard reduction from 10 feet to 8.1 is for the new construction, which is in line with the existing house. We are not building any further than the existing side yards. We feel that the proposed variance sought is in keeping with the nature and character of the neighborhood, as there are many houses in the neighborhood with deficient side yards and similar structures. There would be no adverse effect on the surrounding neighborhood. The benefit cannot be achieved other than with an area variance, and although the difficulty is self-created, we feel the request is not substantial. The Weisses have a growing family and would like to expand their house. They would like to remain in the town of Smithtown and would greatly appreciate your approving this application. Thank you.
Planning?
No comments, thank you.
Gentlemen? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second.
Really moving to second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Next case is case 16817, Robert Dynestein, 16 Crossbow Lane, Comac. Location, north side of Crossbow Lane, east of Feather Lane, Comac, property zone R21. Request variance for an accessory structure in the side yard, reduce the minimum side yard from 16 feet to 5, and total side yards from 34 feet to 22 for an existing 619 square foot deck with a 100 square foot gazebo atop. And you, yes. We need the affidavits and your posting and everything? Right there. Do you have the green cards too? Okay, thank you. Now, may I have your name, please?
Yes. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Robert Dinnerstein, 16 Crossbow Lane, Comac.
Okay. Raise your right hand.
Ms. Wicks will be testifying on my
Yes,
behalf?
but will you raise your right hand first? Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Now, would you like her to
Yes, I
testify
will.
for you? Okay, thank you. May I have your name, please?
Jennifer Wicks, 200 Bellevue Avenue, Center Moriches,
Okay, spell your last name.
Wicks.
Okay. Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
We are requesting a variance, which you had stated, to reduce the minimum side yard from 16 feet to 5 feet and reduce total side yard from 34 feet to 22 feet for an existing 619 square foot deck with a 100 square foot gazebo atop. We do not feel that it has any, it will provide an undesirable change, will be, produced in the character of the neighborhood. The side properties are not affected by it at all. We believe it's a small side yard request. There is no other location on the house, as there is an exit to go to the deck, and with no effect on the environment. And yes, the difficulty was created by the applicant. It was a wood deck built over an original flagstone deck. The deck at its highest point is 12 inches, and at some points ground level.
Okay. Again, we visited the site, you know that, and I know that you've had some damage.
Yes.
Right? The only thing that we may do is, if you need to rebuild it, is condition it that it stays at 12 inches high.
Yes, that's not a problem.
Okay. All right. Planning?
No comments, thank you.
Gentlemen?
No question.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second.
Ready, moving second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Next case is case 16818, Kenneth Reed, 5 Somerset Drive, Smithtown. Location, west of Somerset Drive, north of State Route 25A, Smithtown. Property zone R43. Request variance to increase the max FAR from 20% to 100%, 6% if it was not environmentally sensitive land. Permit environmentally sensitive land to be altered. Depth to groundwater less than 10 feet. Decrease the distance to surface water from 100 feet to 17 for an existing dog kennel and garage. Reduce the minimum front yard setback from 60 feet to 29 for a carport. Reduce the front yard setback from 60 feet to 39 for a deck and trellis. Increase the maximum height of detached garage from 15 feet to 19. And your name, please?
Kenneth Reed,
And your address, Kenneth.
5 Somerset Drive, Smithtown, New York, 11787.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay, would you like this gentleman to speak for you?
I would.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well, let me have your name and address, please.
You got it. Todd O'Connell, architect, 1200 Veterans Highway, Hauppauge, New York.
Okay. Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Again, my name is Todd O'Connell, representing Kenny Reed in his application for several accessory structures on the property, which require some variances. This particular property is considered environmentally sensitive, has a beautiful stream meandering down across his property. I do know the board is here. Other than the storm-related mess, I'm sure you could see that he keeps the property immaculate. It's a beautiful, almost resort-like home through the area along Somerset. The neighbors, he's very friendly with. He has no issues. So therefore, with the way the house is, we don't feel it's going to have an undesirable effect in the surrounding neighborhood. In fact, we feel that, some of the additions that were added here enhance the surrounding neighborhood. Now, we could say that this variance is substantial based on, going to 100%. But this is, it's considered, anything we do is going to require a variance. But if this wasn't environmentally sensitive, obviously we would be well under the area requirements. Knowing it as being environmentally sensitive, we did go to the DEC. We submitted this letter to the building department, but we do have a letter from the DEC saying that they have no objection to any of the structures that we put on this particular property, and I could submit a copy of that letter if need be. The structures that we're going for, most of them are very open in nature, very small, little trellises to tweak the house, give the house a little bit more character. Some of the decking that we're asking for is only about 12 inches off the ground, so more landscaping in nature. We do realize that we have an issue with the garage as being a height issue. But I would like to state, being the depth to groundwater here, this house has absolutely no basement, has vaulted ceilings on the inside of the house. There's no attic. It's almost impossible to store anything on this property. So the garage the garage itself is in a permitted location, or let's say it has its permits, but the height of the garage is what was changed to accommodate storage, which he just doesn't have. And it's imperative to find a place to keep some of his belongings and have that area available to him. The trellis in the front, we're just trying to make the house look a little prettier, give a little protection at the front entrance. We don't feel it's causing any negative environmental impact or anything to the aesthetics of the surrounding neighborhood itself. The dog kennel, which is really realistically being used more as a shed at this point, he does have several dogs that he keeps in there from time to time. He's not in business to groom dogs or raise dogs. It's strictly for his own use that he has that there. This is unfortunately a self-created hardship. He did these structures probably I'd say about 12 years ago or so when these structures were created. They were so minor in nature that he didn't think he needed permits for the for, what they really were. So I don't feel it's going to have an adverse effect on the surrounding neighborhood at all, nor the environment. And with that said, we respectfully ask this board for your permission to maintain the items. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Did they ask you for a test hole?
No, they did not.
Yeah, okay, I just was wondering. You know that there's no action tonight?
Yes, I know, because LWRP, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Is it needs an LWRP?
No, secret.
A secret?
Secret, yes.
Both the needs, okay. Yep. Okay. Planning?
No comments, thank you.
Gentlemen?
No, no. No question.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? All right, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second.
Barely moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Next case is case 16819, Thomas Minerva, 22 Bruce Lane North, Kings Park. Location, north side of Bruce Lane North, east of Indian Head Road, Kings Park. Property zone R10. Request variance to reduce the minimum setback of a proposed retaining wall from the property line from 4 feet to 0, a 4-foot wall. Increase the height of the proposed retaining wall with a fence from 6 feet to 10. Reduce the distance of a 4-foot retaining wall from a 6-foot fence from a 4 feet to 0 proposed. I don't know why is that. Increase the maximum permitted paving in the front yards from 25% to 30 existing. Reduce the minimum rear yard from 50 to 41 for a deck. Reduce the rear yard setback from 50 feet to 34 for an addition existing. And your name, please.
My name is
Yeah.
Todd O'Connell, architect.
Need a power of attorney?
Yes, that's in that pile right there. I was just going to mention that. You have a power of attorney there on the top.
I don't know if you...
No, this is not appropriate.
You need a power of...
No, this is just simply a letter, a notarized letter.
That's not
Okay.
acceptable.
You have to conform.
Not a problem.
Have to conform with the general obligations law, their forms. I could help you out afterwards if you need any direction.
Not a problem. It was a last-minute business trip, and that was what he had given me, so I'm aware of
Sorry
that.
about that.
Okay, you can get it, the form right online.
You got it.
Okay. All right, I have to adjourn it. I'll give you December 11th,
You got it.
okay?
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Very welcome. Thank you. Have a great night.
Okay. I'm sure he knows he has to just repost it. Okay. Yeah, he's been here many times before. Okay. Okay. Okay, I guess he needs, okay. Next case is case 16795 that has been adjourned to November 27th. Next case is case 16805 P.F. Chang, 313 Smith Haven Mall, Lake Grove. Location, northeast corner of Middle Country Road and Alexandria Avenue, Lake Grove. Property zone SCB. Request variance to increase the maximum height of a wall sign from 15 feet to 25 feet. Increase the maximum number of ground signs from 1 to 2. Increase the maximum square footage of a ground sign from 32 square feet to 141 square foot for 2 ground signs. And your name, please?
Michael Colamusi, 28 Culross Drive, Rocky Point, New York.
Yeah, he has a power of attorney.
Yes, I do.
Good, okay.
First,
Yeah, spell your last name.
Colamussi.
Okay. Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do. First thing, the horses are off the table. There was some discussion between the planning board and the Smith Haven Mall, and they decided that they were going to eliminate the horses altogether, and that these statues, because they were considered freestanding signs and subsequently would restrict the mall from getting any new freestanding signs in the future, P.F. Chang's and the mall have both decided to eliminate the horses altogether. So they are no longer on the
Okay.
application. We are withdrawing that part of the application.
Okay.
What we're here for is basically the signage on the front wall. I do have a set of updated plans I'd like to hand out, and I'm not sure if you have them or not, but I just figured
Yes,
I'd
fine.
like to hand them out. I got one for you.
Just, you can give them to me and I'll hand them.
I actually made there's two handouts and there's one for each.
Thank you. That yours, Steve?
It's yours.
I think I have one. I have one. Thank you.
Basically, what we're looking to do is install a new sign on the front of the building, the proposed building, P.F. Chang's, which, if you're not familiar with the site, is basically in between the Barnes & Noble bookseller and the right corner of that mall where J.C. Penney is. This is basically what would be considered the west end of the mall, the west part of the Clover, if you want to call it that. Basically, what we're asking is for the relief on the overall height allowance, which in the town of Smithtown is 15-foot overall height. We're looking for 24-foot 8 inches for the overall height of the sign. The sign is within a square footage allowance. The design of the store, obviously, is such that the sign does need to be higher than 15 feet. As you can see in the rendering, you'll see that the individual letters are made up of yellow neon illuminated channel letters that read P.F. Chang's, installed on the upper fascia of the building storefront. There are some details on the pages following. If you have any questions regarding the signage, I'd be more than happy to answer those. There's a second handout, which basically just shows the other signs in the mall. They're all within a stone's throw of this one, all that are well in excess of the 15-foot height allowance. Barnes & Noble sign is some 35 feet high. Dick's Sporting Goods, about 35 feet high. There's a couple other restaurants there, which are really called the competition for P.F. Chang's, which is Cheesecake Factory and California Pizza Kitchen, and Bobby's Burger Palace, all of which have signs well in excess of the 15-foot overall height. We feel that the application is in standing with the design of the building. Certainly not a detriment, considering that most of the other tenants in the mall, other than these tenants, all have signs in excess of 15 feet. As far as the benefit being sought by the applicant being achieved in another method, obviously signage is extremely important to any business. They need to have a sign for identification. Obviously need to put a sign on the wall. Eliminating the sign altogether would certainly be a detriment to the business, and doing it via flyers or GPS is just something that doesn't work for any business. Whether it's substantial, again, it may sound substantial on paper in terms of a percentage, but I think when we look at the site and the size of a building of this nature compared to the town code allowance, the 15-foot overall height is a restriction that was implemented sometime in the early 90s. Prior to that, there was no restriction on the height. So when this part of the mall existed, when it was A&S and then it turned to Stearns, I believe that was the first time I ever had to come to the town for a 15-foot height requirement. So obviously any bigger store, bigger tenant, bigger type of facility, whether it's a car dealership, a big restaurant, whatever, they're all going to be looking for these height variances because obviously the sizes of the building correspond to that. As far as it being self-created, obviously they took the space there. They're going to be investing a lot of money, and yeah, certainly self-created, but as far as, again, the site is some 600 feet back from the road, so obviously the identification, the height is going to be important. If you have any questions regarding the signs, I'd be more than happy to ask.
I don't think
Answer.
we do. Planning, is there anything?
Just two things. One, there actually were, the maximum height of wall signs was 15 feet back as far as the 1960s.
That's not true.
No, it is.
I've been in the business for 35 years, and
Well,
that code was changed. It was changed. It was changed. I'm telling you, it was changed. I'm sure of it.
Well, I
When
think
it was
the
changed,
planning, I think the planning director knows the
it
codes.
created a big fuzz in the business
Okay.
because it was changed
Okay.
without any discussion with the
Thanks.
sign companies. But anyway.
Whatever the facts are, they are.
Okay.
The request seems substantial, however, I think the circumstances are unique. The setback of the building is so far from the road that I don't think this would have an impact.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Any other questions?
No question.
Okay. Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Second?
Is really moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries. That concludes our hearings for tonight. Thank you so much.